Remember when I made my video talking about our two Swedish kings, Elias Pettersson and Jacob Markstrom? Well, those two Swedish kings have just led us back into the playoffs against the Los Angeles Kings last night. I did indeed watch the game in full, and I did indeed sit down afterwards and think to myself, hey, do I want to make a video? But the after-hours show was really entertaining. If you watched it, you know what I mean. They went through the best moments of the decade, and I had a really good time watching that, so I was like, you know what, the video can go up tomorrow, because the Canucks are playing a game tomorrow, so I don't want to make a separate video talking about Calgary. Let's just talk about both of these games together, talk about the playoffs, talk about the performance last night. And oh my goodness, Sloop John B, this was a great performance by two players on the Vancouver Canucks, and in fact, the Canucks got a win, so it would be unfair for me to say that it was a poor performance, but what I will say is that it was a frantic performance. This was a game where the Vancouver Canucks gave up 50 shots. In fact, it was the first home game in the regular season in Vancouver Canucks history where they allowed 50 shots, and they actually won. Yeah, they won. And it was a very interesting game because the momentum was shifting the entire way through, and I'd be lying if I said one team had control this entire game, because that just wasn't the case here. Vancouver and LA swapped control very frequently throughout this one, and it was definitely noteworthy every time the momentum switched. The first 10 minutes was all Los Angeles. They had all the shots on goal. The Canucks didn't have a shot on goal for the first 10 minutes of the game, but then they exploded for the second half of the first period and got 10 shots on goal that way. The Canucks ended off the first period with a 2-0 lead after Jake Virtanen and Tyler Mott came in with some really good goals. Virtanen's was a really nice rebound after taking the puck and shooting it on a fast break, and Tyler Mott was a really nice snipe after Elias Pettersson dropped the puck off. But this was an interesting first period because everybody was talking about it immediately. Okay, the Canucks, they could be a little bit lethargic. They could be a little bit slow, a little bit lackadaisical out there because they're just coming off of the break. The Kings, on the other hand, they played last night, and in fact, they won in overtime. So they're already in the groove when it comes to playing hockey. They are not in that lethargic state. They've already shaken off that lethargy after the San Jose game the night before. So that was an immediate thing that I noticed too, that the first 10 minutes was completely just LA dominated. The Canucks were kind of slow. The Canucks were in a little bit of a slump. But they were talking about this on the panel in the intermission show, that it was around the second TV timeout where Travis Green was just like, okay, yeah, go back out there, play your game. And that's when the guys were kind of looking around at each other saying, yeah, we kind of suck right now. And the presence on the bench was mostly that all the Vancouver Canucks kind of felt that they should have been performing a little bit better. So, after that second TV timeout, the team started to perform a little bit better. And they ended off the first period with a 2-goal lead. There we go, that's the result that we wanted. And that result carried on pretty much throughout the entire game, except the momentum really did swing in the Los Angeles Kings' favor. It was really frightening seeing the Kings get all these shots on goal and all these opportunities. The second period was an LA 18-7 shot lead on the Vancouver Canucks, and Anze Kopitar got a goal because Tyler Myers didn't box him out properly, and Kopitar is just Kopitar, so we know he's a good player. He's able to find himself in front of the net, jam the puck away at Markstrom's pad, and shove it in. At this point, it's 2-1, and it looks really dangerous, and it doesn't really look like a game the Canucks should be winning, but they are winning, and ending off the second period, they still have the lead. However, the shot differential is atrocious. So, I'm kind of sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, okay, the Kings played last night. They won last night. The Canucks, they didn't play since before the Christmas break, and they've been kind of sloppy. They've been okay for some moments, but for the most part, it's been kind of sloppy. I hope this isn't one of those games where Jacob Markstrom has to bail out the team and eventually win the game for the team like he did in the Carolina game that was 1-0 in overtime. Let it behold, that's exactly what this game turned into, because the Kings were getting a ton of chances in the third period, and starting things off, it's Tyler Toffoli who gets a goal. In fact, Toffoli had a really nice breakaway chance earlier that Jacob Markstrom did stop, by the way, but he gets a break here, and he gets a goal assisted by Anze Kopitar, who else, and Iafallo to tie things up. And at this point, I was like, okay, the Canucks are going to lose. Like, seriously, this was a shot in the foot. Jacob Markstrom was the only one keeping this team in the game so far. It's already tied, and there's no way the Canucks are actually going to bounce back and actually come back to win this, and oh my goodness, they just did that. Elias Pettersson, off of a really good passing breakout play by Brock Besser, who sends it up over to JT Miller, who comes in towards the net, backhands one, protects the puck well, and he centers it for Elias Pettersson, who's on the left side as a left-handed shot. He has to shoot across the body, and he gets a one-timer off. He's not too close to the net that Doughty can cut off the angle, but he's just far enough away that he's got an angle on quick. He shoots it, he scores it, it's in, his second point of the game. The Canucks win 3-2. Obviously, that wasn't the end of the game, but the Canucks eventually hold things off. Jacob Markstrom makes a remarkable 20 saves in the third period to hold the Kings at bay, and he breaks his own record for most saves in a game with 49. The Kings got 51 shots to the Vancouver Canucks 26, and just like the Pittsburgh game, I'm not feeling great about that. Sure, we won, and sure, that feels great, but I don't like the amount of shots that the Canucks are letting up in response to the amount of shots that they're putting up. Sure, they're efficient with the shots, but, like, it doesn't feel good to get double outshot, doesn't it? But regardless, the Vancouver Canucks win that game, and as a result, they are in the playoffs by default. In fact, they're actually tied with Edmonton for the final wildcard, but they have less games played, so they're automatically in that spot. Now, the Vancouver Canucks have a chance to finally get into the playoffs for realsies this time, later today, against the Calgary Flames, where the Flames are in a position where they have one more game played. They have identical records, the Canucks and the Flames do. It's just that the Flames have one more overtime loss, so they have one more point. The Vancouver Canucks, on the other hand, they have a chance to overtake the Calgary Flames here with a win. If it goes to overtime and the Canucks win, and the Canucks and the Flames end up with the same amount of points, Canucks would be in there by default because they have less games played than Calgary in general. But we always know it's a great game against Calgary, and we know the rivalry and the history that's going on over there. The Flames, though, have a very, very identical record to the Canucks, so it will be really interesting to see what goes down here. But the Canucks are on a 4-game winning streak right now, so it'll be very interesting to see if that can continue to 5. Honestly, we don't see 5-game win streaks from the Canucks very often, so if it does go that way, then we will treasure that for sure. But as of right now, the Canucks are in the playoffs. If they lose tonight against Calgary, will they still be in the playoffs? I don't know. Are the Oilers playing today? Let's check that out right here. I probably should have done that beforehand, but oh boy, there are a lot of games played today. Okay, let's check the scores. Is there an Oilers game? No, it doesn't look like there is an Oilers game. So regardless, the Canucks can probably still be in the playoffs in that final wildcard spot if everything goes right. Actually, no, the Wild play today and the Predators do. Oh my goodness, that Central is so stacked. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know if we're going to be in the playoffs, but regardless, a win would be nice. Wouldn't it be nice if we were older and we wouldn't have to wait so long? Because I know that's exactly what I'm looking forward to, seeing the results, watching this game. This game is actually being broadcasted at 6:30. I'm going to be at Rogers Arena earlier today at 1 p.m. So that's when this video is going out, 1 p.m. I'm going to be at Rogers Arena by the time this video is out, watching the Warriors game. Yeah, I'm watching lacrosse. This is gonna be really cool, but if you see me at the game, I guess say hi if you want to. I don't really know if anybody would want to do that, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Soldier the 9, and bye.